Hello, my peaceful warriors. I wanted to let you know about a new episode feature on the Scalpel and Sword podcast. It's called Sharpen the Sword. And one of the things that's great about conflict and conflict resolution is it is, unfortunately, pervasive. But because it is pervasive, we have lots of different arenas from which we can learn. And I'm really excited to invite guests from different professions to join us on the Scalpel and Sword to give us an insight into how they manage conflict, and we can learn from how they do it. So look for a new episode, our new feature, and it's coming up soon. So make sure you tune in for that. And as always, peaceful warriors, be at peace. Hello, my peaceful warriors, and welcome to the Scalpel and Sword podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lee Sharma, physician and conflict analyst. And today we are talking about something that, of course, is the theme of our podcast, of everything we talk about here in Scalpel and Sword. But it's something that every physician, every healthcare professional experiences, but very few are trained to handle well. We're talking about conflict, not the screaming kind, not the HR disaster kind, the everyday, corrosive, culture eroding kind. The eye roll in the OR, the passive aggressive epic message, the we've always done it this way in committee, the senior partner who shuts down the junior associate. Left unmanaged, conflict drains teams, fractures departments, and destroys physician morale. So today I'm giving you a tool, a clean, repeatable framework. 5 letters, SPARC, spelling SPARC, because conflict handled well doesn't burn down your team. It creates light. So why do physicians struggle with conflict? We are trained to diagnose pathology. We are not trained to diagnose interpersonal dynamics. Medical education rewards decisiveness, certainty, authority. It does not reward curiosity, emotional regulation, or relational repair. So when conflict shows up, we default to one of 3 patterns. We avoid it. We just say it's not worth it and we let it go. We dominate. We say this is my call, my way or the highway. Or we intellectualize. We just say let's stick to the data. But none of those build trust. And trust is the coin of the realm. But SPARC does. Conflict triggers physiology before it triggers cognition. Cortisol rises, heart rate increases, and your brain shifts towards threat detection. So we have to stop. The S in SPARC stands for stop. The first move is not verbal. It's biological. Stop. We stop talking. We stop typing. We stop reacting. In the OR, stopping bleeding prevents shock. In leadership, stopping reaction prevents damage. This can be as simple as, let's take a minute, or saying, I'd like to think about that, or physically putting your pen down. Stopping creates psychological space, and space is power. The P in SPARC stands for pause, and this has been a recurring theme throughout the podcast. People talking about the power of taking a beat, taking a pause, taking a breath. Stop is external, but the pause is internal. The pause asks, what am I feeling? Why is this activating me? What story am I telling myself? Most physician conflict isn't about the presenting issue. It's about respect. It's about control, recognition, or fairness. The pause interrupts your default narrative. Instead of, she's undermining me, you shift to, I'm feeling dismissed, and that matters to me. You cannot lead what you cannot regulate. And the pause is self-leadership. The next A is for ask, don't assume. Assumption is the accelerant of conflict. We assume intent. We assume disrespect. We assume incompetence. And instead, we need to learn to ask, not in an accusatory fashion, but in a curious way. So what are examples of this? Instead of, why did you ignore my consult? Try, help me understand what happened with the consult yesterday. Instead of, you blindsided me in that meeting. Try, can you walk me through your thinking in that meeting? Curiosity disarms defensiveness. And here's the leadership truth. Most conflict dissolves when people feel heard. We are asking questions that uncover goals, that uncover constraints, hidden pressures, and misunderstanding. You're not interrogating. You're investigating. The R in SPARC stands for reflect and respond. And this is where we tend to skip ahead and we get into trouble. We want to go straight to the solution. We want to have this solved, but we have to learn to reflect first. What does reflection sound like? It sounds like what I'm hearing is that you felt unsupported, or it sounds like timing was the real issue. Maybe saying you're concerned about patient safety, not control. When someone feels accurately reflected, their nervous system settles. And only then do you respond. And response is different from reaction. Response is intentional. It includes things like ownership, saying, I could have communicated that better. Or maybe it communicates boundaries. I'm not comfortable being interrupted in front of the team. It also may include alignment of goals, things like we both want safe outcomes. Reflection builds trust. Response builds clarity. And together, they build credibility. The C in SPARC stands for create. Conflict without creation is just ventilation. The final step is forward movement. What are we creating through the positive application of conflict? We're creating shared agreement, a new process, a behavioral boundary, a communication rule or pattern. What are examples of this? So we have walked through S, P, A, and R. So we're going to create now. Let's agree to review cases privately before the committee. If there is a disagreement in the OR, we'll debrief after we close. We'll trial this protocol for 30 days. Creation transforms conflict from personal to structural, and that is leadership maturity. So let's look at some real-world examples where we can apply SPARC. So let's say we have an OBGYN who's in a group who feels the senior partner routinely overrides her clinical decisions in front of the staff. Without SPARC, without stopping, pausing, asking rather than resuming, reflection and response, and then creation, if we don't walk through those steps, resentment builds. The staff can tell, they can feel that tension. And then the culture starts to erode. And that sets us up for more destructive conflict. That sets us up for things that the patients will be able to feel. But when we have SPARC, she doesn't confront in the hallway. She stops. She pauses. She identifies the trigger. Public correction feels humiliating. She asks, can we talk about what happened in clinic yesterday? I'd like to understand your concerns. She reflects. It sounds like you were worried about the liability exposure. She responds. When corrections happen publicly, I feel undermined. I'd appreciate feedback privately. And then they create. There's an agreement. Clinical disagreements discussed after clinic, unless patient safety is immediate. No drama, no escalation, just professional alignment. This is executive presence. Why does it matter? Why should we even take the time to have a process like SPARC in our daily practice? It matters in medicine. Healthcare as a system is under tremendous pressure. Burnout, staffing shortages, financial strain, regulatory burden. We can't afford internal fractures. Conflict competence is now a core leadership skill. It's not optional anymore. If you are a residency director, a department chair, a practice owner, or just a respected attending, your emotional regulation sets the tone. SPARC also is built as a system to grow. It's scalable. It works in operating rooms, boardrooms, residency programs, private practice. It is surgical in its precision and strategic in its impact. Conflict is not the enemy. Unmanaged conflict is. SPARC gives you structure when emotions run high. When you feel yourself entering into this complex situation, they stop, pause, ask, reflect, and respond. Create. Leadership isn't about avoiding tension. It's about transforming it. I have bracelets with the acronym on them, SPARC, and I would love to give these bracelets to you. So please reach out to me on LinkedIn or on my website, rleesharma.com, and I would love to send you these SPARC bracelets, as many as you want. And I would love to hear about your experience with applying SPARC in your daily life. I am so glad you joined me here today on the Scalpel and Sword. And until next time, my peaceful warriors, be at peace.
Every episode is an invitation to speak, to negotiate, to choose. I'm Dr. Lee Sharma. Join the dialogue by subscribing to Scalpel and Sword. Until next time, peaceful warriors, may your choices be sharp and your voice be even sharper. This podcast is a reflection of lived experience and research in conflict resolution. The Scalpel and Sword is not intended as medical or legal guidance. For personal matters, please consult a qualified professional.